Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 20 Easter Dollar Tree DIYs for you. I have a little bit of everything in today's video and I really hope you enjoy these DIYs. These are the 24-inch stackable eggs from the Dollar Tree, and these are the pastel colors. Here on my channel I have DIY'd, I think, only the white ones. These already come in these pastel colors of pink, blue, and green, and I know a lot of people paint these, but I actually think that these colors are really pretty and fun for spring, so I'm going to leave them these colors and I'm going to show you how I decorate them. I want to decorate them with flowers, bring in a lot of spring with this, and so I found Dollar Tree flowers in the pink, green, and blue, and I'm going to use those to decorate. So these are the pink roses from the Dollar Tree. When you put the pieces together, I have the top and middle piece together, you have a little bit of a gap if you pull it out a little bit, and I'm going to use that gap by hot gluing my stem right in there. And these are the pink flowers to match the pink egg. I thought they would look better up here between the blue and the green though for the contrast, mix it up a little bit. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap between them, and the hot glue on this takes a little bit longer to dry than you would think, especially at first when you're trying to open up that opening there between the two eggs and wedging those flowers in there. In the gaps in between the flowers though, I'm just going to use some reindeer moss and just glue a piece there. It's going to make it look so bright and fun for spring, and I love these colors. I love how this turned out. I've seen people paint these. I don't really know about painting them, maybe distressing them with that diamond pattern on there. So far, I've only covered them with things. I've made a fluffy bunny, which you'll see here in a minute, and I've also made a rope bunny for coastal using the eggs, but this is the first time I've displayed them as eggs. Between the blue and the green eggs, I'm going to use a total of 6 pink roses, just trying to space them out evenly here. And the time that it takes for the hot glue to set up, I'm just holding them in place and placing the reindeer moss, gluing that into place as I go all the way around this. I love these bright spring colors. All the DIYs today are going to be bright and fun for spring and Easter, and hopefully they will make you smile. So almost done with this top, and one more little section here of reindeer moss. And I did kind of let this sit for a minute because I wanted the flowers to set up there with the hot glue. And now we can add the third egg. I'm going to go ahead and pop that one on here as well. I have some green flowers and some blue flowers to go coordinate with the other eggs here. So it's pretty tall, as you can see. It takes up my entire work desk. It's a little hard to film to get everything into frame. These are the lilies, the green flowers that I found. They're kind of big, but this bottom egg down here is kind of large, so I think it will work. I'm going to mix together the green and the blue down here, but I'm going to start with the green. And again, there is a little gap if you pull the eggs apart just a little bit. And I'm leaving a space in between them. I'm staggering them with the flowers I did on the top. So if I had a gap up on the top, then I added a flower down here with the green. And it's a lot larger down here, so I will go back and add more flowers. But I do want to add the reindeer moss in between the flowers as well, because these are going to be the larger flowers. So I needed a total of 6 of the green flowers too, just like I needed 6 of the pink roses. Now I'm going to add the blue flowers, I think mixed in with the green flowers here to tie it all in. We'll have all those different colors, and we're even going to add some more flowers to this to really make this really bright and fun for spring. So that is all of the green flowers. As you can see, those flowers do want to move around, so you will have to make sure that your hot glue sets up, but they seem pretty sturdy now that I have it all put together. For the blue flowers, I'm using aster. They are smaller, so I'm just going to put some hot glue on the stem and glue them into place, pushing them down in between the eggs, but also into that reindeer moss. And I like the contrast with all the different kinds of flowers. With Dollar Tree, it can be a little bit whatever you can find, especially with colors and stuff like that. But I always try to bring home some Dollar Tree flowers, so I have a pretty good floral stash as well. And I'm just gonna work that into the gap here. So 6 of the blue flowers. So 6 of all of them so far. The last set of flowers we're gonna be adding are tiny flowers. So we're gonna need a little bit more of them. But so far easy, 1 bunch of everything so far. Down here at the very, very bottom, I'm going to do more reindeer moss. Just a couple inches here at the bottom, and I can work in some more flowers. If you had a planter that was large enough for this, this would look really cute displayed in a planter, but I didn't really have any planters that weren't being used that this would fit in. But wouldn't that look so cute, like next to your front door for Easter? I think it would be so fun. I love the combination of the Easter eggs and the spring flowers. It really brings in both vibes. And I don't want this too thick. I'm just piecing it together just so it covers all the way to the bottom of this, but I don't want it to go, past the bottom. I want it to be able to sit up. And then I want to add some more flowers. I've already got the pink, the blues, and the green. So I was thinking what I should do for the last color. I didn't really want to take away from that. So I'm going to go with white. I picked up these little white wildflowers from the Dollar Tree. And again, I'm just going to pull these off and hot glue these to the reindeer moss. These are pretty lightweight, so I can just glue them to the moss itself. And I want a lot of them because they're kind of small. So I'm just going to just start adding them. Really no rhyme or reason. They're probably not even evenly spaced, but I think they look kind of fun. Wildflowers are supposed to grow kind of randomly anyway, right? And we're gonna work our way around this. I think this is a fun way to decorate these eggs. I wasn't sure exactly how to decorate the pastel eggs. I know I bought more of the white ones than the pastel because I was like, what am I gonna do with the pastel eggs? But look how they look when you leave them alone and add some coordinating flowers. I do really enjoy the stackable Easter eggs. They are $7 this year at Dollar Tree, unfortunately. Luckily, I still have some from last year when they were $5, but they're still, I think, a good deal. Maybe grab one or two. But I think it turned out really cute with the original colors. The pastel colors are so bright here, especially with the flowers. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'd really appreciate it if you would hype today's video. For this DIY, I'm going to use one of the Dollar Tree carrots or faux carrots, one of their wood bunnies, some craft wood, and some of that new faux fur they have at the Dollar Tree this year. For my piece of scrap wood, it's just a piece of craft wood. I'm going to cut it down a little bit because I don't want it to be too big. That's going to be the base. I wanted to do a really cool carrot, and I want to do a fluffy bunny kind of looking at it. Now, the Dollar Tree carrots are great. I like the greenery and I like the shape, but I wanted something a little bit more artsy for this. So what I'm going to do is cover the entire thing with twine. I'm using the twine from Walmart. It's a little bit thicker than the twine from Dollar Tree, but you could do it with either or. And I start here at the top. At the top, I found I did have to hot glue it to get it straight up against the greenery like that. And keep its shape until I get to the area where I can just start wrapping it. It gets a lot faster when you don't have to glue everything down. I just want to go around this edge here and then I can just start wrapping the entire thing. I am going to paint the twine orange to look like a carrot, but it's just going to be a lot more beautiful, I think. I love this look. I think it's really rustic and fun for Easter. Here, I just went ahead and did like a little line of hot glue where it would like grab one side as I spun it around. And I tried to keep it as tight as possible. It's okay if a little bit of the orange carrot shows through because I am going to be painting it orange anyway. But I did try to keep it as tight as I could. And then I did have to hot glue again when I got here to the very tip of our little carrot. And that looks pretty good. I got pretty good coverage. There's a few areas you can see the orange carrot through, but again, I'm going to be painting it, so it doesn't really matter. The first thing I do is just go around the jute twine, burning off the fuzzies on that, trying to make it a little bit easier to paint with less string sticking out of the side of it. And for the paint, I'm just using acrylic paint and pumpkin. It's a little bright orange, but you know, it's a carrot and mixed with the brown of the twine. I like how it looks. I don't want great coverage. I just basically want to give a light coat of orange all over. And if there are some areas like that where you can see the carrot through there, I just went ahead and painted the carrot too, so it would all be the same color. And I just go around all the sides of the carrot. I want this to be a standing display with a fuzzy bunny looking at a carrot in the grass. I want it to be really cute, and it's going to be like a giant carrot for the size of that bunny rabbit. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to give it a quick dry, and I did notice that it did still have like a lot of string sticking out of it even after burning the fuzzies off of this one. So I did try to trim them up a little bit with some scissors just to clean it up a little bit. It looks a little bit better if it doesn't have all of those strings sticking out of it. Now for the bunny, I've been dying to craft with this craft fur. Look how beautiful this is. And I chose this brown color because a bunny can be brown like this. I didn't want to do an unnatural color like purple. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove the tag off the back of this because you will be able to see this is going to be a standing sign. And line that up with the edge of the fabric, and I have it flipped over, so I just use an ink pen to trace out this bunny shape. I thought it would be easier to cut this out before I add it to the bunny rather than later. I also picked up some of this craft fur in lavender and light blue, which I think are going to be really fun colors to craft with for Easter. Now it's time to cut it out. I'm just going to cut right inside my ink line, trying to make sure that I cut it out perfectly. And basically, I just want to cover the entire front of the wood bunny with the fur. Now, I've covered these bunnies with paper, all different kinds of different things, even flowers, but I have never done it with fur, and I love how this turned out. I just want to keep that silhouette of the bunny. I like the simple bunny silhouette. I don't want to give it a face or anything like that, but the addition of the fur was really cute. So I cut it out the right way, so that's good. And it looks like it's going to be a perfect fit here. This fur does shed a little bit on your cut edges. I just glue the bunny's head and neck here first, making sure I line everything up with the hot glue. Really easy to do, and isn't that so cute? I'm so glad Dollar Tree decided to start carrying the fur because it's something that I usually have to get somewhere else if I'm going to craft with it. So that looks pretty good. We have our little bunny rabbit. I do want him to have a fuzzy bunny tail. For that, I'm going to use one of these little pom-poms from the Dollar Tree, the little bunny kits, the larger one that's white. And I'm just going to try to flatten that out a little bit so I can use hot glue to glue it on, and it'll just be full coming out the one side. I just push that down into the faux fur, hot gluing that in place right where the bunny tail was on that. Because of course the bunny has to have a bunny tail, right? And I want him to look at the carrot like that. For the piece of craft wood, I'm going to paint it first with a acrylic paint in leaf green color, the top, the front, the back, and the ends of it as well. I do want to cover the part where the carrot is with some faux grass, but for the bunny rabbit, I'm just going to want a green surface to attach that to. I'm going to drive a nail where I want the carrot. That way I have something to kind of spike the carrot on. The carrot's made out of foam inside, so I can use the nail in a combination with hot glue to attach that so it can be freestanding. For the bunny, it's really easy because I can just glue the wooden bunny down here. I made sure that the fur didn't overlap the bottom. And I glue that with an inch or so here on the side. Basically, that takes up everything over there. So the only place I need to cover with the faux grass is over here on the side. This is from the Dollar Tree Plus, the Easter stuff right now. For $5, you can get a big roll of this faux turf, and I love using it for crafting. I'm going to cut off just a little rectangular shape there. One thing about these, you want to cut them a little bit larger than what you need because the way it's set up on this black mat, sometimes you can see it on your cut edges, and I always like to try to trim those off so you only see the grass. So that looks pretty good. I just put it on top of that nail, also using a little bit of hot glue to attach it. And then some hot glue on the nail. I'm just going to put the carrot on there, our little string carrot. making sure that is glued in place. It's like a freestanding carrot like that on the side of the bunny sign. And I really love how this turned out with that faux fur. Isn't that so cute? I'm really glad that they have brought the wood bunnies back this year. They're so easy to DIY. There's so many different things that you can do with them, but adding the fur has to be one of my favorites. And the little string carrot too. How adorable is that? Really easy putting these items together, and I think they look so cute. Okay, the next DIY, I wanted to make a coastal egg. And so I'm using one of these plastic giant eggs from the Dollar Tree. And I thought we could make a seashell Easter egg. Now, this was kind of a labor of love, but it turned out fantastic. It is so beautiful. It's such a work of art. So, just removing the plastic from our giant egg and actually putting it together, I was a little worried about it staying together. And so, I'm just doing a bead of hot glue all the way around the egg to kind of help reinforce that because we're going to cover this with seashells. So, we're going to need it to be kind of strong. I'm just using a Dollar Tree seashells, like these little scallop type shells. I'm trying to kind of map out exactly how I can do this. But I was worried that you might be able to see like the blue or the clear plastic through like the seams in between the shells. So I'm just going to go over the whole egg with ivory paint first to give myself a nice background for our seashells, especially the blue on here. Now you'll see that there is like a flat edge there on the bottom, which is not ideal, but actually in the end, I don't think you can probably even tell. But that can always be your back, right? Because we're going to kind of have this Easter egg stand up and just be a beautiful like shell display, honestly. It turned out so nice. But I need a base. So I'm just going to use one of these little dollar spot signs from Target. It can be whatever you've got, but this is just a nice size. It's perfect size for this egg, and it's kind of heavy. So I think it's going to look nice. It was white, but I just painted it ivory to kind of go with my coastal decor. And we have a super easy little base for our egg. I thought I should go ahead and attach it to the base now before I start attaching the seashells. So I'm just using hot glue and gluing that down with the flat side there on the back. And you definitely have to hold it until it's dry. Now, to kind of reinforce that joint right there and add another little coastal touch, I'm just using some Dollar Tree brown rope and hot gluing that all the way around. And it looks nice, but it's also going to make that a little bit stronger. Now I think we have a pretty good starting place for this little shell egg. Just using my little cake decorating tool from Dollar Tree there to avoid burning myself. And now I think we have the perfect base. So we can start building with seashells. I'm going to start at the bottom and just glue the first one on. And then I'm just going to keep building. I'm making like the shells kind of go in the same direction, slightly overlapping them. So I'm not just gluing them to the egg, but I'm also gluing them to the next shell. And I'm just going to keep going around on that bottom base, doing them this direction, just kind of upright. And then I'm going to kind of start in the center and the back to kind of make sure that I get these spaced out properly. It's pretty forgiving, but if a shell doesn't fit, just try another one for sure. And it's kind of like doing a driftwood project or something like that. I always kind of compare it to a puzzle, but I'm kind of using different colors, but mainly these little scallop sized shells. And I was trying to determine if I should keep going in that pattern or if I should flip them upside down for the next row. And I really like the look of flipping them upside down for the next row because it kind of gives it like a really cool, like kind of tortoise shell vibe. It looks cool. And we're going to start with that second row there. And same thing, just kind of going around, overlapping. I'm overlapping the bottom row slightly too, just because I thought, it's going to cover more, and I'm gluing it to more than one surface, so it's going to help them stay on. But actually, this held up really well with hot glue. Again, when I get to the back, I'm kind of making sure that I have them kind of spaced out properly so they'll all fit. And I'm not too worried about the back as much as I am the front. And so for the third row, again, I'm doing it the same as I did the bottom row. And see how they kind of all sandwich together when you flip the direction of the shells? And then I'm just going to speed this way up, and we're going to glue these all the way up to the top of the egg. I often don't craft with just predominantly shells like this. I know a lot of people do, but a lot of times with shell projects, they can kind of end up looking kind of unprofessional or tacky. But this little coastal egg just turned out beautiful. One of my favorite Easter DIYs I've ever done. And I kind of like the fact that I'm varying colors and such. I kind of want it to look really random. And again, every row, just flipping the direction and keep working my way up this giant egg. And I think that this is probably the only giant egg that they have at the Dollar Tree. I can't remember seeing another kind, but the plastic probably works better with the amount of hot glue that I'm using. Like if it were foam or something like that, that would be really melting. So again, just kind of putting a puzzle together, a small one next to a big one, just trying it. If it fits, I glue it on. If it doesn't fit, I grab another one. Sometimes you need two like that just to fill it in. And I'm not too worried about being able to see through because we did paint the ivory paint underneath, and we were getting almost all of it covered up here at the top. And then one big shell on the top. It's going to finish it out perfectly. And we have a little seashell Easter egg. If you do have like any hot glue that seeped out, you can always clean that up a little bit with a heat gun. It's going to make it look really pretty. And there's our little Easter egg. I did have a few gaps between my shells that I thought would look a little bit better brown. So I do go in there with a little tan paint and just kind of distress some of the larger like gaps in between. But that step's probably not necessary. It turned out so cute though. Here's our little Easter egg made out of seashells. And I know a lot of you guys love coastal DIYs, so I wanted to make sure to throw in some coastal DIYs today for you. I love doing coastal Easter, but I love doing traditional Easter too with decor, but I really love how my seashell Easter egg turned out. It's definitely one of my very favorites. Okay, for the next DIY, I wanted to DIY one of these little bunny rabbits from the Dollar Tree. Little plush rabbit. I chose the brown one because I thought maybe he had a little bit more character. But you could always do this with the white one as well. But the trick on this one, I wanted to find a way to make him special, and I kind of stumbled across a YouTube video by Crate and Art where she painted her. So I'm going to try to do the same. I will link her video down in the description below because she actually sewed hers too, and it turned out really cute. I hate sewing though, so I wanted to see what I could do with this bunny rabbit without sewing. So I went ahead and removed the little bunny nose just by applying a little heat there. I'm going to save that for later, and I'm going to paint mine too. Her channel is Crate and Art, so CRATE, the letter N, and then Art. And she painted her. So she painted over the face and the belly with like a white. I'm going to do mine like an antique parchment, so it's a little bit more of an ivory color. And then she added, I think, like real like doll eyes and whiskers and stuff like that. And she sewed hers to make it have legs, facial details, super cute. So if you want more ideas of how you can decorate your bunny, be sure to check out her YouTube channel. I was really impressed. I've never seen anybody paint these before, and I thought it was a great idea. So right there, I just kind of did like a little oval around the eyes, and then a little bump out for the cheeks. The cheeks are kind of blushy pink, and I don't want to go over as far as they're blushed, but I kind of like that the blush kind of came through my paint, as you can see. I just kind of switched to a smaller brush, and I'm just using acrylic antique parchment, the ivory paint. Gonna do right here for the bunny neck too, and then I'm gonna come down and give it a bunny belly. I don't really mind too much the fact that it doesn't really have legs. It's just going to kind of make him look nice and fluffy. And I absolutely love how this turned out. I have a lot of plush bunnies. Like, I have a collection. It's one of my favorite things to use for Easter. And I think this one actually turned out good enough to kind of go in my collection. So, because these bunnies from the Dollar Tree can be a little bit plain. So I just went over with one coat of paint, and I'm just kind of touching up the edges, trying to cover up the facial details a little bit, but I don't really mind if they show through because it'll kind of give me detail because I'm just going to be painting a lot of it back on because I don't want to do any sewing. I'm a crafter. I don't know. I just do not like sewing. So also around the bunny belly and stuff like that, I just go around and kind of touch everything up. I didn't really have a paint pen this exact shade of ivory, so you could use that to kind of make it a little bit more pronounced. But I'm also going to go ahead and do my little bunny feet in that white color too. So we're just going to make him two-tone. So he's going to be that nice like brown color and ivory too. It just gave him a lot of character, I think. Now I can still kind of see the toes through when I just paint the little bunny paws that color. And then the felt ones at the bottom, we're going to paint those too. Those are just like flat pieces of felt. This is actually part of the plush bunny. And not taping it off or anything. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just trying to do the part there with like the little bunny toes. And I do the front and the back and kind of the sides just to make sure that I get good coverage there. And trying to make sure my wet paint doesn't touch back down on my bunny. I'm going to go ahead and stand him up and we can paint his little feet ivory too. And this is the colors that she painted hers. She also painted her ears ivory. So you could totally do that as well. But I kind of liked my bunny having pink insides of his ears. So I'm going to leave those. Just trying to make sure he's dry. If you use a heat gun in yours, though, be very careful because I did kind of melt part of his arm a little bit. That fabric doesn't hold up too well. Now for the eyes, I was trying to decide between the Dollar Tree googly eyes, or I actually have some colored ones that I got, I think at Target Dollar Spot. And I think they're a little bit cuter, but you could totally use the ones from the Dollar Tree, kind of whatever you have. I don't have any doll eyes or anything like that. So I kind of wanted to create my own with some of the little googly eyes. These actually look like eyeballs, so they're super cute. I think I got those at Target Dollar Spot, I'm pretty sure. And so I'm just going to hot glue those over where I can see the original eye was painted on. If you don't have any googly eyes or doll eyes, you could always paint that eye back on. It's still going to give it so much character just by painting him. They did have stickers on the back, so I did peel it for the sticker side, but I didn't think that'd be sticky enough, so I did use hot glue to try to make sure that stays on. And then I did save his little bunny nose. I didn't melt my felt too much, so I'm going to go ahead and use the existing nose, hot gluing that back on now that I've painted his face. And you can already see how much more character he already has from the addition of paint. I'm just going to use a pink Sharpie I have just to kind of draw his little mouth back on. Since he has a pink nose, I thought pink would work well too for his little mouth. Nothing crazy. And then I kind of want to do like whiskers too. So I want to do like some little whisker dots here on the side of the bunny nose. My fine tip Sharpie was not wanting to cooperate on the paint, so switched it up to just a regular Sharpie, and that seemed to work a little bit better. Now, I was trying to brainstorm what I could possibly use for whiskers. And the only thing I could think of is I do have some of the black floral wire from the Dollar Tree. And I think this is from the hardware section, actually. So maybe it's not floral wire, maybe it's just wire, but it's very thin. So I just cut out 6 little pieces all about the same length. And I thought those would make perfect whiskers. And you know what? They actually worked pretty well. Now, painting the fabric made it where it was a little difficult to kind of stab through the fabric. And you know what? I think hot glue will be fine. I'm just going to do like a little dollop of hot glue right there. And that should be enough to actually glue all three of my whiskers in. And that actually worked pretty well. It's not super obvious. And it was probably a lot easier than trying to bury it down into the bunny anyway. I think when I painted the fabric, it just kind of sealed it up a little bit. So I'm going to do a dot here on the other side of the bunny nose and glue 3 more whiskers on. Now I've DIY'd these bunnies a lot from Dollar Tree and I've never made one this cute. I'm so excited about this little guy. He's so cute, he might even need a name. I'll have to let you guys name him down in the comments below. Now for his toes, I'm just going to use that same pink Sharpie. I like using Sharpies on paint like this. It doesn't bleed very much like a paint pen sometimes. And then I'm going to do it for his little front paws as well. Just trying to make sure it's dry. This is kind of the arm I melted a little bit there with my heat gun, so be careful about using heat on this material. Like a lot of Dollar Tree fabric, it did not take it too well. So I just drew his little toes back on. He is so cute. He does stand up on his own. He's weighted from behind. I thought it'd be cute to use a bunny tail. And originally I had picked like the white ones from the Dollar Tree, but then I was like, that doesn't really match anything. So I'm going to give him a little pink tail. I have some of the little pink pom-poms, the little yarn craft kits from the Easter section at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to put one of those for a little bunny tail just because I think he needs one. So right here on the back, I thought about using the largest one first, but then I thought maybe it was a little bit too large. So I switched it up to kind of more this medium size one. And I'm just going to fluff that out and attach it with hot glue right here on the back. Now, I knew I wanted to make clothes for him. I was trying to decide what kind of clothes. He already has a lot of character from the paint and the details that we've added to him. But I thought I would do something really simple, like Peter Cottontail would wear like a little vest or something. But again, I don't want to sew. So I was trying to find something. I thought about using fabric, but I didn't know if I'd be able to do a no-sew clothes for this bunny with that. So I'm actually going to use a felt. So these are the little felt sheets in the Easter colors from Dollar Tree. I love these. They have these great pastel colors. I think they have 3 different color packs where they have polka dots and they also have solid colors. So I love this color. I think this is going to be so cute on him. And we can make a little vest. It's not big enough to do the back and the front of the vest, but you know what? They also have the same color in a solid. So we can use the solid for the back of the vest and we can use that cute polka dot pattern for the front. So I kind of want to cut out just a traditional vest shape. So I'm kind of thinking about how that would lay on him. I don't really have a pattern or anything, so I'm going to kind of use the bunny as my own little pattern. So I just laid the felt right on top of him and started cutting up like I would cut up a vest into 2 different parts and then like have a V-neck here. So I'm going to cut it at an angle and I want it to go around his arm and up above his shoulder to make a cute little vest just like that. So I want to create like a mirror image. So front to front, I sit that on the other polka dot pattern and cut down the other side of the vest. And these are just kind of starter pieces. I'm going to kind of trim this down, make sure it fits him a little bit better. I do need a little cutout here at the top for his arm. So I just cut a little triangle shape out of one side and then using that as a template, I did that for the other side as well. So his little arm will fit. It'll go above his shoulder like that. It's a little too long, so I'm going to go ahead and shorten it a bit. And we're going to try it on him and see how it looks. I noticed the bottom was not super level, so I'm going to kind of balance that out a little bit. And I think that's going to be the perfect size for a vest. So I'm going to start just by hot gluing the felt to the felt, actually, just along the side of the bunny. So on his shoulder, on his sides, just like that, and leave the front of it open. I'm not going to use any buttons or anything like that. Nothing crazy, just a super easy no-sew vest. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. I glue it above his shoulder and along the seam here on the side. And again, I don't have enough fabric to use that same fabric for the back of the vest, but we're going to use that solid color. So again, I don't have a pattern. I'm just going to kind of use the bunny as a template, kind of work with what I have here. So I know I want to start here on one side. So I'm going to start here on this side and just start gluing that straight seam down to the side of the vest. I'm going to cut out like a little triangle here for his arm again. So it'll wrap around closely, look like a little hole for the vest sleeve, I guess, or lack of sleeve, vest opening there. And then I'm going to cut along the neck. Then I can go ahead and kind of glue that all down above the bunny's shoulder, meeting it up with a vest from the other side. And, you know, he's kind of shaped at an angle, so it's not super straight across. I just kind of pull it as flat as I can and cut off some of the excess material, which means I need to kind of straighten out the bottom too to make it go straight from one side to the other. And then I can hot glue the seam to seam here again. And just like the other side, I'm going to cut a little tiny triangle here for his little bunny arm, and then a little piece here to go around his shoulder. And I'm going to secure that as well. So easy peasy, no sew, little vest that I think kind of looks like a Peter Cottontail vest, gives him lots of personality. I also kind of hot glued it to the back of his neck there to kind of tighten it up and make sure that his clothes stay on. I think that looks super cute. I did think that he needed something on his neck though. It's not very cute there, that little like where the material kind of slouches there. And I thought a bow tie would be super cute to go with his little vest. That would be very Peter Cottontail. I thought about using the blue that came in the same package, but you know what? He has a lot of pink already. So I have one of the felt kits for the pink too. And I thought I could use the pink and white polka dot to make a little bow tie. That'd be super cute to bring out like the pink details in the bunny rabbit and also go really well with the little vest that we just DIY'd. So I'm just going to cut the tiniest little rectangle here for a little bow tie. And then we're just going to make a super easy bow tie by just taking some Dollar Tree twine and just kind of tying that in the middle where it'll kind of cinch up and look like a bow tie. So I just flip it over, tie just a simple knot right here in the middle, which is going to cinch it up, make it look super cute like that. I am going to double tie it to make sure that stays in place and then cut off the excess twine so you can't really see that part. And it was just such an easy way to make a little bow tie for him. And now all I have to do is kind of hot glue that in place right there at the base of the bunny neck. Isn't he so cute so far? I had so much fun putting this DIY together. I really hope you guys enjoy him. I think he's super cute. He has so much personality. I did want him to hold something. And I have some of those little string carrots from the Dollar Tree. And I thought that would be the perfect thing for my little Peter Cottontail to hold. It'll look like, you know, he has like been in the garden stealing carrots. And so I'm just going to kind of put it here under the little bunny foot, kind of holding it up against his body up next to the cute little vest. So I just hot glue the little string carrot to the vest and to his little bunny foot there. And I think that will stay in place pretty well. It's not super heavy. And I just added another fun little Easter touch to this little bunny rabbit. And I absolutely love how he turned out. So many little fun details, so much personality in him. Isn't he so cute? I really love him. So don't be afraid to DIY these little classic bunnies from the Dollar Tree. I did notice that they did have them back in the stores this year. They also have a lot of plush bunnies too. If you wanted a little bit of a fluffier version, you could totally do that as well. But I think I made him so much better and I think he has so much personality now. What do you guys think about our little Easter bunny? For this one, I found this really cute little Easter greeting sign. I like the fact that one of the carrots is orange gingham. I do not like the fact that there's glitter for the greenery. So we are going to take some of these Dollar Tree signs from the Dollar Tree. I need 3 of those. And we're going to transform this into something really cute. It really kind of has a farmhouse vibe in the end, but I love the gingham color. Now this top carrot is glued on. It is paper, and even though I'm trying to melt the glue and try to take this off cleanly, it is going to rip the paper when I take these apart from each other. But I do need to get this carrot off first so that I can remove all of that glitter greenery on there that I don't like. I like everything else about the sign, I just don't like that part. So it does rip the paper underneath, but that's okay because we're going to glue that back on. You won't be able to see it. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to save these back carrots, but I was able to get that off cleanly enough. Now to cut the greenery off, you don't need a saw or anything. All you need is a razor blade. You're going to need to go through it a couple of times, and then if you just bend it, it should break. This one wasn't cut all the way through, but I can always use some scissors and use my razor blade to make that look a little bit smoother here at the top. There is that little green section there, which I don't really appreciate, but we'll work around that. I like the little green gingham bow on there. I will save that for later. Just gonna go ahead and get that out of the way so I can cut the glitter off of this carrot as well. No glitter on these DIYs. So I should be able to reattach that on there just like that. For the sign in the back, I'm gonna use 3 of these long hanging wood decor signs from the Dollar Tree. I really only need 2 wide to make a background sign for this, but I like to use a third one to attach it to each other. They're not super thick signs, so you really need a lot of bracing in the back, and I find that a third sign in the back is perfect. So I left the hanger on the back sign. I flipped the other 2 signs upside down so the holes on them are now at the bottom. And then I'm going to add hot glue where the third sign will be, glue that on the back. I'll be able to still use that hanger to hold the sign, and it really does a great job of bracing this like palette board sign together. For the holes down here, I'm going to go ahead and fill them in with a little spackle. I plan to stain this, but you know what? The spackle's not going to stain. If you do want that to stain, you're going to have to use like a wood filler or something like this. I will just do something down there to cover up those holes, but I just went ahead and filled them in anyway. And then for the stain, I'm mixing some water together with some Antique Wax by Waverly because I want a lighter stain. I figured I could go on there with a couple of coats to get it exactly how I want it. I don't want it too dark, but I love staining the Dollar Tree wood signs like this, even though they're thin. When you add them together, you can make them a little bit bulkier and they stain beautifully. So this is what one coat of the stain looks like. I'm just going to wipe it off with a paper towel. As you can see, the spackle down there doesn't stain at all, which I knew that was going to happen. I do like that stain, but it wasn't quite dark enough, so I'm going to go over it with one more coat, trying to let that wood soak that stain in, and then wipe that off as well, and this is going to provide a great background for the carrot sign. The carrot sign itself is thin, so layering it with other Dollar Tree signs is going to make it look way better. I also want to stain the edges in case you're able to see those. Now to cover the holes in the bottom here, I'm just going to take some Dollar Tree twine, glue it here on the back, and I'm going to just wrap it around in a great pattern that gives a lot of texture and fun to it, but it's also going to serve the purpose of covering up those holes there in the bottom. I wanted to go ahead and do this now so I'll know exactly where to put my carrot sign on this Dollar Tree sign. So I think that's enough of the wrapping down there at the bottom. And I do need to go ahead and put this carrot sign back together. So I just add some hot glue to the carrot down below. It's kind of weird that they print that design on them and then do the same exact design on top. I've noticed that on a lot of Dollar Tree signs. Now it is a paper sign from the Dollar Tree, so it has kind of a glossy paper look, and I want to tone that down a lot. So I'm going to use a couple of coats of Mod Podge, some matte Mod Podge, to give it a matte finish so it doesn't look quite so cheap. You know how the paper signs from the Dollar Tree can have a little bit of a shiny, cheap quality? This is going to tone it down, make it look way better. So just a couple thin coats of Mod Podge on this just to tone that down. I have pretty much cut off all the glitter on there, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. I do want to make sure my back sign is dry from the staining before I try to glue this on. It is slightly warped. All of these carrot signs were at my Dollar Tree, so I figured I could get it to lay flat, hot gluing it to another sign, and this worked really well. I'm just going to make sure I have glue all over and make sure I glue that down where it stays nice and flat and no more warped sign. For the greenery, I found this greenery at the Dollar Tree that I think would make great carrot tops. Way better than the glitter, right? So they come off individually into little pieces, which are just the perfect size for the sign. And I'm just going to start doing a couple here for each carrot and see where we go from here. I know there is that green part there, and I'm going to want to cover up the stems of these a little bit with some more greenery as well. But let's go ahead and start with this. I'm just going to glue them to the carrot side itself, the little plastic stem here. And it's okay that it's taller than the sign. I kind of like that. I give one stem to each one of these carrots. I noticed some of them were slightly darker than the other ones, but it's not real obvious. And then one here for the middle carrot, and then I'm just going to add more until I'm happy with it. I want it to be really lush up here and really look like the top of carrots. I think this looks so much cuter than it did before. Now I do have that little green patch there, so I'm adding lots of greenery over that to cover that up, but of course I do need to mask it. So I'm gonna do that with some moss, just some reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna glue a strip of it here, just where necessary, and it's gonna provide a fun texture too, and it's gonna do the job of covering the stems and covering that green part of the sign. I don't have to go all the way across, but I do want to cover everything that has greenery at least for this. And I really love how this sign came together. I think it's so cute. Now, I did save that little green gingham bow that was on the carrot bowl before, and there's still a glue dot there too. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I think it's going to tie everything together. A little more gingham for Easter. So I just glue that back on where it was before, and I'm going to trim the rest of the ribbon here a little bit, just make it a little bit shorter, but I also want to make it even. And that's it. Here is our little Easter greeting sign with the orange gingham carrot. I think it's so cute. And I think the key to this project is replacing the greenery. It looks so much better without the glitter carrot top on there. And anytime I can use gingham for Easter, I always jump at the chance. It's so classic Easter. And so be sure to check for like little Easter carrot signs at your Dollar Tree. You can make something like this with them. Okay, for the next DIY, I picked up a little metal bucket from the Dollar Tree. This is a nice beachy blue color, a Dollar Tree Easter bunny headband, and I thought we could do a fun bunny ear like floral arrangement. So I kind of wanted a silver bucket from Dollar Tree and I couldn't find it, so we're going to make do with the blue, but I don't want a blue bunny. So I'm actually going to use some white acrylic and just do a very distressed circle for a bunny face on the front of the bucket. That way we have the beachy blue for the bucket, but we also have the white bunny face because the plant itself is going to have some bunny ears. I thought that'd be really fun. So as you can see, I'm just kind of making it look very distressed, a general like kind of oval shape, but all kind of flared out at the edges. And I want it to look really distressed and coastal. Trying to make sure it's a little bit more symmetrical. And then since I'm distressing it, I thought I might as well distress the whole thing. It's going to kind of make it go with the vibe a little bit more. So again, just using a white acrylic and that same chunky brush from the Dollar Tree, I'm just going to kind of drag it, distress kind of any of the blue areas that are left behind, just to kind of give it that same coastal farmhouse vibe that I love so much. Now for the face, it's super easy to do a bunny face. I'm just going to use a black paint pen. I love the Posca brand. That's my favorite. And I'm going to do two little ovals side by side for little bunny eyes. I will add some more details to those. And a little bunny mouth couldn't be any easier, just like two like little C shapes almost. And then a bunny nose. I'm going to switch to my pink Posca paint pen and just do like a little upside down triangle. Very easy. And then again, some black bunny whiskers. We're just going to do three simple little whiskers to cue a cute little bunny face. Now for like the eyelashes and stuff, I needed something a little bit more finer. So I'm actually just using a black Sharpie to do like three little eyelashes on each eye to make her cute. And you can use those for the whiskers as well. And then I'm going to use my white paint pen just to do a little shine here in each eye to give the eye a little bit of character. So easy. You can use this as a guide, or you can, use like a bunny face that you see online. And then to make it look distressed, I just distressed the face a little bit with some more of the white paint just to kind of break it up and make it look a little bit more weathered. Now, these little foam circles from the Dollar Tree fit perfect in the little 10 buckets. So I'm just going to place that inside. And then for the greenery, I wanted it to look like a little boxwood plant, but I also wanted it to be beachy. So I found this eucalyptus at Dollar Tree, and the reason I liked it is because I thought it was kind of a tannish color, kind of like sand, very beach coated, this color. And we're just going to start by cutting off the individual little eucalyptus ones, branches, and putting them in there. I don't want you to see the green foam, so I had a little Dollar Tree sand left over from another project, and I just put that on top to kind of mask that. But I actually got it pretty full. I don't know if you would have been able to see it. And again, I'm just using my floral scissors from Dollar Tree to cut those off, kind of pushing the eucalyptus up the branches to make them a little bit shorter. And I'm just going to keep adding until I get it full. Again, I just want the look of like a little boxwood plant that we can have cute little bunny ears coming out of, and some like fun Easter florals as well. So it's looking pretty full. I did have like a partial. I'm going to add just a few more of those until I'm happy with it. I might as well use all of these to finish this one off. Super cute. Now it's time to add the bunny ears. Again, we're using a Dollar Tree headband. Some of these had carrots on them that looked like they were kind of hard to take off. The blue ones did. So I picked up the pink ones because they didn't have the carrots on them. I wasn't a fan of that. I don't know why they added that to the bunny ears. They don't need a carrot. And I'm going to go ahead and cut them off. Just by cutting the fabric, there is like a wire piece that makes the bunny ears stand up. I left that in the bunny ear. And then I'm just going to use some skewers from the Dollar Tree to make little floral picks that we can put down into the plant. That's going to hold the bunny ears up so we can just kind of spike them down in it. Now, I'm going to use those in combination with the little metal piece that's inside the bunny ear. I thought they were a little bit long and just a little bit, so I'm just going to break mine down a little bit just to make them a little bit shorter. And then again, attach the wire that was already in it. It's this flat wire. So maybe an inch or two. I just cut off the end of mine just to make sure they didn't stick up too much. And then I'm just going to simply hot glue the skewer to that metal piece. And I think that's still kind of necessary to hold it up and make it flat. So I'm going to do the same thing here with our second bunny ear by gluing that to the non-pointy end of the little skewer. Then it's just a matter of putting the bunny ear back together. So I slide the wire in, and then you kind of have to cinch it up. So I used a little hot glue and pinched it together like that, so it'll kind of form the bottom of the bunny ear. And then I also glued it down to the skewer so it'll kind of stay in place. And then we're going to do the same thing here with the second bunny ear. Now we have two bunny ear little picks that we can put down into the floral arrangement. If you wanted to use a real plant, I think that'd be really cute too. And I kind of did it towards the back of the plant. So the little bunny ears would like be sticking out, from the back of the bunny head and not blocking too much of the plant. And so I have the bunny face on the front of the bucket, and then I have the two little bunny ears sticking straight up. Super cute. Now, the beachiness factor of this comes from the colors. We use like the blue bucket, the distressing, the tan eucalyptus, and then I thought we'd bring a little bit more blue in with a few flowers. These are the hydrangeas from Dollar Tree, and they're kind of like little clusters. I just pulled them off clusters and just kind of put them down in the eucalyptus. It's pretty full, so I didn't really glue them in place or anything. They kind of stayed in place. It's just a matter of putting them where I want them and kind of organizing the flowers a little bit. I did two here in the front and then one more like kind of peeking out from the back just to add a little bit more spring to this DIY. And there it is, our little bunny bucket. I think it's super cute. I love the idea of the bunny ears sticking up. And it was so easy to make with just a couple of items from the Dollar Tree. And I was just in my store the other day and they had lots of different options for different color, like plush bunny ears too. So really fun. Put them in a little plant or a faux plant like this. Put a little bunny face on there and you've got a really easy Easter decoration. I think he's really sweet and I love the colors. I thought it'd be really fun to take one of the wood chunky bunnies from the Dollar Tree. They have these in bunnies, chicks, eggs. They're really cute. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the tag off the back of it. Heat usually works for that when it's really on there. And we're going to make a shell encrusted bunny rabbit. Now you could use the small jars like that from the Dollar Tree with seashells on there, but I've noticed they've been a little hard to find, at least at my Dollar Trees. So I actually got this big jar of them on Amazon for probably just as cheap. I do have it linked in my Amazon shop in the description of today's video if you want to check that out. But the glue we're using is just the Dollar Tree tacky glue. This stuff works great for tiny seashells. It dries clear, but it's really strong. I've even used it for outdoor wreaths and stuff like that, and all of my shells stayed in place. I like it a lot better than hot glue. It's just a little bit easier for what we're doing here. Now, I do want a lot of tacky glue on here though, because I need enough to make contact with all the shells we're going to put on there. And I'm using the variety, all the different shells mixed together, but I am going to probably pick out some of the ones that are a little big. Usually they're pretty consistent, but there's a couple in here that are rather big. And I'm just going to start sprinkling them all over. I'm not going to have like an eye or anything like that. I'm going to have it just all shells all over the silhouette. And again, just picking out some of the larger ones there, and I'm going to start scattering these all around. I wanted to make sure that I got tacky glue everywhere so I could do shells from side to side on this. And I'm trying to add them in a layer. So I want to make sure that there's none that are on top of each other or too close together, because I want to make sure they all make contact with the glue. That is an important part. And it really doesn't take too long for this to dry either. You would think, using another kind of glue like this, it would take a long time, but it really doesn't. I think I let this sit for maybe an hour or two, and it was already ready to go. And I'm just kind of taking my time when I get to the edges, because I want to make sure that I go all the way to the edges, but again, I don't want to overlap. And I think this is going to turn out so cute, and it was so easy to make. So another fun idea, what you can do with like these little chunky signs from the Dollar Tree for Easter, I think they're so cute. And I was really excited to do some more coastal DIYs for all my coastal lovers out there. When I add any more to the sides to make sure it goes all the way to the edge, I just might add a little bit more of the tacky glue to make sure it's going to be nice and strong. And this worked really well. Every single one of my shells stayed glued on, and I think it looks so cool. Again, the tacky glue dries clear, so you will be able to see the wood through it when you're done, but it also does kind of dry a little bit glossy, so be prepared for that. But that'll look nice with all of these glossy seashells, I think. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and start the drying process just a little bit with my heat gun, but basically you just need to lay it flat, let it dry, and this is how it looks when it dries. Isn't that so pretty? A shell encrusted bunny silhouette. I love it for a coastal Easter. And when I was DIYing this one, I also did the Easter egg and I did sea glass. So I displayed them together and they looked so pretty together. You can see that the glue dries clear. So you can see the wood backing still, which is nice. But the seashells on there are so pretty. And you can definitely get those little seashells like that on Amazon.
We're going to use actually two of these wreath rings from the Dollar Tree. They're the really large 18-inch ones. And we're going to do kind of like a little nest Easter egg thing. I've seen people do this, so I thought I would try to give my take on one of these. Basically, you're just going to use it as a cage. So I turn it upside down. And then what I want to do is just fill it with greenery. I have some of this lamb's ear left over from Walmart. This was just like one long continuous piece I got at Walmart, and I've used it for many projects, hence why it's all like cut up. But we're just going to kind of piece it together and it's going to be totally fine. You could kind of use any kind of greenery you wanted. I've seen people do it with just Spanish moss, but I think the greenery really adds something to it, and I really like the feel of the lamb's ear. So we're just going to use Dollar Tree eggs, the little pastel speckled eggs. Super easy, right out of the box. You're not going to have to do anything to them. So I picked up 2 packages of these from Dollar Tree, and we're going to use almost all of them. I'm just matching colors and alternating the sides so they're like kind of directly across from each other. The blue and the like green are really kind of very similar. I'm going to end up using all except for the white. I just didn't need that many, and I just really like the feel of the pastels. But if you had less greenery, you could make it a little tighter in there. And it's so easy because we're just going to sandwich the eggs inside of a second wreath form from the Dollar Tree. And you're just using the cages to hold all of that in there, and it really gives you a cool little effect, and so easy just using the wreath forms. So on the second one, I'm just going to sit it right side up so the like concave surface is on the inside, and then attach it on there like that. So I'm just going to kind of line up the crossbars so it'll kind of make sense. And it's okay if some of the greenery pokes out. I think that looks really cool. And just kind of spacing out my eggs, making sure it's like fairly even. And then I just need to secure them. I thought the best way to secure the 2 cages together would just be some zip ties from Dollar Tree. So I don't want it to be real obvious though. So I'm going to go in and do like the middle row and just zip tie those 2 together. And I can always disguise that a little bit because we are going to fill this with Spanish moss as well. So I want it to be fairly secure. So I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. Now, when you're pulling it together, you want it to be tight enough to like keep the eggs in place, but not so tight that it like starts to like squish the eggs. Just a medium amount of pressure. And since it's so large and it's going to go outside, I'm going to go ahead and do the top and bottom too, just by doing that middle one. So a total of 4 zip ties is what I'm going to use. Just trying to work on my spacing before I get the last one in there, because after that, it's going to be kind of hard to move them around. And you can do this with any of the eggs. They also have the gold ones from Dollar Tree. And then Target Dollar Spot has like the white speckled ones that kind of look like real eggs. That'd be pretty too. So I just cut off the rest of my zip ties. And I'm kind of tucking in my leaves a little bit just to kind of keep the shape. But I don't mind if they peek out a little bit. Now I want to fill it up to kind of make it look like a bird's nest. So I'm going to fill it up with just Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree. I just used 1 package and just kind of pulling out like a little section at a time and working it in the section in between the little Easter eggs. And you can kind of use that there. I'm kind of wrapping it around that zip tie. It helps to kind of disguise that too. I'm just trying to fill up like any of the empty space in there. And it really gave it a cool like nest-like feel. My son was a big fan of this project. He really liked it. It was so easy. I mean, think about how much work a wreath can be. And just using like the empty wreath cages is a win-win. So 1 package of that Spanish moss is plenty. I'm just going to go ahead and use the whole thing. And it is going to make a little bit of mess on your work surface, so be aware. Now, I kind of wanted it to have like something hanging down in between, and I thought one of those little wooden bunnies from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. It's just the right size. These are just the white ones that they have, which would be really cute if you had like a colored front door, but I have a white front door, so I kind of need my little bunny to be a color. So I'm going to paint mine Caribbean blue, which is just an acrylic paint, just another pastel color. This goes great with Easter, but it also goes with my coastal beachy decor in my house. I have a lot of blue glue. And so I'm just going to go over it with one thin coat. And it actually allowed some of that white to peek through. And it kind of gave it a little bit of a distressed feel. So just a very thin coat. Super cute. I'm not going to decorate him any more with any other paint colors, but I thought it would be cute if he had a little bunny tail. So I'm just going to use a little pom-pom. I think I got this at the Target dollar spot. You can use whatever you've got. I know Dollar Tree has like pink ones like this and little craft stuff, and you can use, these are the pink ones. You could also use like the little snowballs. They have all different kinds of options. But I kind of like the pom-pom feel, and I kind of like the blue and the white. Goes with my colors. And so I'm just going to attach that to the bunny bum with hot glue. And that's really the only decor I'm going to do on there. You know, if you wanted to put your last name or something on there, that could be really cute as well. I'm just going to take some twine now, tying that off in the front of my little bunny. And then I'm just going to cut that twine and then string it up through the top of my wreath. So it's just going to kind of hang in there, but kind of going through in the middle so it's not too obvious. And then going back down through so like it is like attached to the top rail of it, and then tie that back off on the bunny. Just a really simple hanger, and it hung in there perfectly. It's just the right size. Now I wanted to do a bow too to make it nice and festive for Easter, and I'm going to use some of this light blue Easter ribbon they have from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to make a nice simple bow. It's nice and thick, and it's two-sided so you don't have to do any twisting. I just do 2 hoops on each side, measuring out a tail, cutting that down to size, and then just using a zip tie to make an easy peasy bow. This isn't like really wired very much, but I think it's big enough. It keeps its shape pretty well. So then I'm just going to pull down my second tail and fluff up this bow the best that we can. I thought a nice festive bow would look cute. I kind of wanted to do the bow on the top, but I felt like it kind of took away from the bunny ears. And so I'm actually going to hang this on the bottom. I'm just going to simply dovetail the ends of our bow. And that's what it looks like on top. That's what it looks like on the bottom. So we're just going to attach it on there with just a little bit of twine going across that wire hanger in the middle and just simply tying it on. Now I was trying to decide what I wanted to decorate that with more. You could use like Easter egg, any of the little wood cutouts from the Dollar Tree would be really cute on there as well. I kind of wanted like a nest feel, and I did have a little bird's nest left over just from, I have no idea where I got this, but it'd probably be pretty easy to make with Spanish moss if you were to wind it in a circle like that and you had some little eggs to put in there. I thought that would be cute though. So I'm just going to hot glue that in the center of the bow to finish off this cute little Easter wreath. It's really a nice size wreath, and I think this is going to look really cute on my front door for Easter. So just making sure my hot glue is dry because that nest is a little bit larger than something I would normally glue on there. So I am going to reinforce it with a little bit more hot glue, and that's all there is to this DIY.
I just got this little Easter wreath out and I really love it still. I make a lot of wreaths on my channel, so I need more doors for wreaths, but you can always hang them on the wall too. But this is how it looks hanging on my door out to my garage. Classic. It's definitely held up well. And I think it's so cute with the Easter eggs inside the frame like that. And it was so easy to put together. You're going to need one of these little bunny bum signs from the Dollar Tree. I want to cover mine with the white fluffy mop heads, also from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need about 3 if you make it like I did. Now, I kind of need a pattern for the feet because I'm not going to bother trying to take these off. They're difficult and they get broken a lot to try to take them off. So I just took a piece of just regular copy paper and just kind of, folded around the edges where I could kind of see them a little bit. And I'm just going to sketch that out with a pencil so that I can kind of just make a pattern that I can use because I want to cut out little fluffy bunny feet too. I thought it'd be really cute to do little fluffy bunny feet. I want to give a shout out to one of my members of my private Facebook group, Rochelle. She did a fluffy bunny bum sign and it turned out really cute. It inspired me to make this DIY and kind of make one my own. So I am just going to go ahead and cut that out. I'm only going to need one because I can just reuse that pattern. And we're just going to flip this sign over. Nothing going to get in our way. We're just going to use the back side and kind of make our own thing. I am going to glue the hanger in place though, just so it doesn't turn and kind of get like hang out the sides. But that will work perfectly like backwards as a hanger. Now the mop head is just the right size. They're curved a little around the edges, which did cause a little gap on the two sides, but that's okay. We can always fill that in later. But as you can see, two of them together is definitely going to cover this size bunny really well. So I'm just going to simply hot glue these down. I thought it would be easier to hot glue them down first and then worry about cutting them to shape later. Cutting the mop heads can get really messy if you've ever worked with these before, but they're so fluffy and cute. So I'm going to do the same thing here at the top, just putting hot glue all over the surface of the sign and laying that, kind of blending it in with the first one so you can't really see the seam in between the two little mop heads. Just kind of smushing it all together right there in the middle and making sure that it's nice and tight. I don't want any of the wood to show through. And I also want to make sure it's glued tight to the edges here. That's going to help me be able to cut that a little bit better, perfectly to size. As you can see, there's not much to cut off here on the bottom one. It kind of fits perfectly. Just kind of the corners, really, is the only thing I really have to cut off there. And, I like to cut upside down like this too to try to cut the fabric, but it's still super going to shed a lot. So be prepared when you cut this stuff. It does kind of shed and kind of fall apart a little bit. I'm trying to throw mine away as soon as possible before it kind of gets out of control. But as you can see, it also looks a little shaggy after cutting it. So once I cut it down, I just go around, try to cut off like any like loose strings or anything like that. That's going to make it look kind of crazy. And again, cleaning up all that shedding. Now, I do have some of it left over though, so I might as well use that to kind of cover the little gap here between the two mop heads. So I just use a little hot glue, glue that down, makes it where you can't see the wood, and everything looks nice and fluffy for the little bunny bum. So for the feet, I think one of the mop heads is going to be plenty. It looks like that's going to fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut this in half. That way I am left with two pieces that are the same size. And then I want to kind of sketch out my pattern shape here on the back to make it easier to cut. I didn't really want to have to pen it or anything like that. I thought I could just use like a little fine tip Sharpie here, kind of sketch it on the back. I did try to use like a lighter color, so if any of that's left, you might not be able to see it. But as you can see, it's just long enough for one of those feet that size. And what I want to do is combine this little fluffy foot that I'm cutting out with some of those little felt bunny feet from the Dollar Tree. But if you had any kind of pink felt or pink material, you could use that as well. I just thought that would make it a little bit easier because they already have like the little shape of the bunny feet on them. So again, it sheds a little bit. It's a little shaggy when you cut it down, but I'm just trimming my first little bunny foot up. And this turned out so cute. This is the first time I think I've ever given a bunny rabbit like fluffy feet, and it is definitely cute. When I pictured doing this project, that's what I was thinking of, is like, I want fluff between the little bunny pads on their feet, their little bunny toes. I thought that would be super cute, and I love bunnies for Easter. It's like one of my favorite things. So again, I just sketched it out and cutting the other half of the mop head down to size for a second little bunny foot. And I'm not gonna, they're pretty, sturdy. I'm not gonna attach this to anything. I'm just gonna glue this directly to the mop head underneath of it, kind of having it hang off the bottom, like the original sign. Just trying to recreate what's on the back with my own stuff. So again, super shaggy, just trimming that down to clean it up a little bit and trying to make sure that they are even and everything looks good. They're kind of a mirror image of each other. There's not like a left and a right. You can't really mess that up since I use the same pattern for both. Again, just trimming it up until I'm happy with it, and I think that looks pretty cute. Now to make the little toes, I'm going to attach those, but I'm just going to go ahead and glue the feet down first, and we can just keep adding on to this sign from there. So I'm just using hot glue to glue these down. And I already had these mop heads because I used them for snow for Christmas, my gingerbread setup. So, of course, definitely saving these to reuse for another DIY. I love these things. I also love the little fluffy automotive towels, but it's not near this fluffy. Now, these are the little felt bunny feet from the Dollar Tree that I was talking about that I thought would make things a little bit easier. I just want the little toe pads on these. So, what I'm going to do is just cut down the little ovals. The big one can go on the top part, and then the little toes can go along the bottom. Just how like a little bunny foot would be, the back of a little bunny foot. And I think it turned out so cute. It's one reason I like this sign is because you can do the bunny feet like this direction. Normally when you have just the back of the bunny, it's just like you can really just do the tail. There's not a lot of details you can add because the feet are like facing the other direction, if you know what I mean. And so I did the same thing with both of them, just cutting them down, trying to get them as close to an oval shape as I can. They don't have to be perfect, but having the like already printed on there and not having to draw this out on pink felt or anything like that just makes this so much easier and makes everything a little bit more uniform. So I just cut down all 8 of our little ovals here. And once I get them all cut, we can start putting this little bunny together. So the little pads of his feet go here, and then the toes can go one in each one. There's like 3 toes. So it worked out perfectly. Isn't it looking so fluffy and cute already? I had a great time putting these DIYs together. I wasn't sure if you guys were wanting more Easter DIYs. I know the Shore Living Beach stuff's coming soon. I got my first package from DollarTree.com today. The Shore Living pics. I posted a picture of those. They are available at my store. They're only available to ship to your home, but shipping really wasn't that bad and it was super fast. I got them within a couple of days. And I am just hot gluing these all down, making sure to push them down so that fluff comes up between the toes because that's really what I wanted. Now, I couldn't find a pom-pom that I had that was big enough for a bunny tail this size, so we're going to try making one. So I just cut down like a little piece of cardboard, pizza box, and I'm going to try making one. I thought this would be bigger than my hand and would make a bigger pom-pom. So I'm just simply wrapping it around. This is that Dollar Tree like Chanel yarn. It's not my first choice, and I've never made a pom-pom with it. It's really floppy. I wasn't sure if this was going to work, but I thought maybe if I make it big enough, it will work. This was the only white yarn that I had, and I kind of wanted to stick with a fluffy white bunny. So just wrapping that around until I think it's nice and full, cutting that off. I had also cut off an extra piece before I started, and I just feed that through the bottom there. We're just going to tie this off and knot it to start creating the giant pom-pom for the tail. Another thing you could do is you could put like smaller pom-poms together, but I wanted to see if I could create my own. I wasn't super happy with this pom-pom, and I think it was because of that Chanel yarn. It's just floppy, but you know what? That whole bunny is kind of floppy with all the fluffy and fur, so I think it will work. So I just cut it about halfway through across from where I tied it off to create our pom-pom. And you can see that it's a floppy pom-pom, even though I have lots of string in there. So I kind of trimmed it to try to make sure that it was fairly even and shaped like a pom-pom. And let's see what we can do here. So if I put it up here at the top, it's a little crazy looking right now, but once you hang it up, it all goes down a little bit. But since it's nice and full, I think it is going to work. I'm just going to trim it down a little bit though, because I just didn't really like the way that it was laying. But let's go ahead and attach it up here. We can always trim it a little bit more if we need to. I was trying to see, I was not super happy with it, but you know what? In the end, I think it's going to work. It is a nice big fluffy tail, right? So after messing with it and contemplating whether I want to attach it, I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. And so I just put glue on the fluff and the pom-pom, gluing that right where the bunny tail was before at the very top of the sign. And we already have the hanger on there from before. I want it to be tall enough to cover that wooden tail that was kind of sticking up out of the top of the sign. But I also want it to all be kind of glued tight and so it doesn't stick out too far. So again, you can see the back of it is just the original sign. We did all of this on the flat side. That way everything was super easy to attach to the sign. Now I thought maybe if I cut like layers in the pom-pom, it would make it like lay a little like more round since it's a little bit flat at the moment. So just kind of like hair, I just cut the top layer a little bit shorter and kind of shaped it a little bit until I was happier with it. And this is how it turned out, our little bunny bum sign. The tail was a little bit floppier than I expected on this one. Maybe it's the kind of yarn that I used for that, but I think it's still really precious. And I love the fact that it's got like the little fluffy, furry bunny feet too. I think those are really cute. Using the little microfiber mop heads like that from the Dollar Tree is so much fun for any kind of a fluffy bunny DIY. Now, the next DIY is so easy. I picked up a couple items from the Target Dollar Spot. This is our little aqua colored Easter basket from a dollar spot. It's only $1, so cheaper than the Dollar Tree. And I thought we would give it a slight makeover to try to make it look, again, less like plastic. And I'm going to do that with some of the Rust-Oleum matte finish. I'm going to go ahead, put my eggs and stuff to the side and spray that with a coat of that. It's going to make it look a little bit more high-end. I want it to kind of look like a ceramic little Easter basket that we're going to fill with some coastal Easter eggs. So again, I just sprayed one coat all over, kind of like I did with the plastic Easter egg. And I thought about, like, there's polka dots and swirls on the side. I thought about painting them white, but I kind of like the look of it all, this like beautiful aqua color. And so I left it as is. So this was a great find for $1. And I think it's going to be great to hold some coastal Easter eggs. Now, I don't want to use like tons of Spanish moss and tons of eggs. So I'm just going to take some newspaper and I'm going to take a couple pieces and just put that in there to kind of fill up the space so I don't have to use as many craft materials. You won't be able to see that part anyway. So I did 2 pieces of newspaper. And then we're going to go in with some Dollar Tree Spanish moss. I thought that would look nice and beachy. I'm just going to do a whole package right here at top and try to empty it into the basket so I can have as little mess as possible. When you're working with this stuff, it does get kind of messy. And I just kind of break it apart, make it look kind of like seaweed or Spanish moss over at the beach. I think that looks fun. And kind of going over the edges just a little bit. And then I found the perfect coastal Easter eggs at Target Dollar Spot. I was so impressed with these. You get 6 in a bag for $3, and they're little woven Easter eggs. They look so beachy. It's like a rope woven around the egg, but it's so cute. I just love it. So I'm going to do a total of 6 here, and I thought I needed one more, and I did pick up 2 packages. They also had carrots that I picked up, and I love those as well. So I did a total of 7 in mine to make my bucket nice and full, and then I kind of like the bucket handle up. I tried it like both ways to see which way I like, and I think that looks really cute. And then for another little beachy touch, I thought I would add one of the Dollar Tree starfish. You could also add like seashells, anything else beachy, but it really didn't need too much. But this is going to look great sitting on my shelves for Easter. It's so coastal and beachy, but so fun for Easter. And I didn't even have to make the eggs. Hopefully they have some cool Easter eggs like that at Target Dollar Spot this year. I don't know if it's Target in general, my Target, but Dollar Spot has really fell off for me lately. Being able to find things. I don't know if everybody just goes in there and grabs it all before I get a chance to see it, but I have a hard time finding stuff there anymore. And, they bring in different stuff every year, which is nice and fun. But the Easter basket's definitely a classic. Now, for this one, this was actually also from Target Dollar Spot, a little carrot farm wood bin. I thought this would be perfect for a DIY.
I thought we would make it kind of look like, like the crates that you would see like at a carrot farm selling fresh carrots. To kind of go with the theme, you could leave it flat like this, or you could put like some wood blocks on the bottom on the back and then make it stand up kind of like it would actually be, when you're selling produce where it's at an angle. Either way. And then I found these little mini carrots from the Dollar Tree. So I just filled up my front 3 with Spanish moss. And then I'm just going to use 1 package of these in each one of the little cubes and just kind of dump them in there. Some of them are a little messed up, but most of them are pretty cute. So you can kind of hide the irregular ones on the bottom. And there was just enough of those little foam carrots from the Dollar Tree to fill that up nicely, I think. Most of the space, again, is being filled up by that reindeer moss. And so I didn't want to do that for all of them. I wanted like the back parts to kind of look like a carrot farm garden. And so I'm going to fill that up with reindeer moss as well. And then I thought we'd go in there with greenery. That foliage that you see there, this is from the Dollar Tree, and I think we used this earlier. It really reminds me of like carrot greenery at the top of the carrots. So when you're growing carrots, of course, they're underground. So you would only see like the greenery. And so I'm just going to pull those little pieces off. So easy, you don't even have to cut it. And just kind of like stick that down into the reindeer moss. And so it'll look like little carrot plants are growing back there. Kind of like a box garden or something like that. And then the front part looks like carrots that have already been picked and are ready for sale. I thought I'd go with the little carrot farm theme of the crate. I always love these crates from the Target Dollar Spot, but I often struggle with knowing how to decorate them. So I figured it out on this one. Gonna add a little bit more reindeer moss to make sure it's good and full. Super cute and so easy to put together. Now I got it all put together and I was like, what does this need? It needs something. And then I'm like, wait a minute. A carrot farm has to have a little bunny bum. So I have one of these little bunny bums from the Dollar Tree. This one has like the little pink foot pads. They also have one with blue. It doesn't matter. And I wanted off the skewer. And so I broke the skewer, but I still couldn't get it out just because it was glued on a little bit. And that was really going to get in my way. So I just use a little bit of heat carefully. Don't want to melt anything. Just to loosen that hot glue. And that worked. And I could peel that out and glue that back down. And then I thought we would have our little bunny over here, like head first in the carrot plants. Kind of off to the side, like he just came in and he's getting into mischief.
And this was a perfect DIY to be able to use those little tiny carrots like that from the Dollar Tree. They fit in there perfectly. If you wanted to construct your own, you could use some of like the little wood bins from the Dollar Tree and put it together yourself. But whenever I can find these little crates like this at Target, Dollar Spot, I always try to pick them up. I think they're so cute. And you can prop them up like this. For this DIY, I wanted to see if I could turn one of these wood hearts from the Dollar Tree into a bunny head. Upside down like this. I have a vision. You'll see here in just a minute. I was thinking the bottom of the heart would be like the chubby cheeks of the bunny rabbit. So the first thing I do is just remove the hanger because I don't need that. We're going to have it upside down. For the fur, I'm going to use one of the microfiber mop heads from the Dollar Tree. Now, you could do this 2 ways. You could cover the entire heart with it and make it furry. But you know what? I really love that wood heart with the distressing on there. I think it's really pretty. So I'm going to leave mine exposed. So it's kind of up to you. You could cover the whole thing and have a fluffy bunny, or you could just do it the way I do. So I am just cutting off that corner. I want to make sure that I cut the fur down where you won't be able to see it from the front. So I had to cut it several times here just to take on the shape of the heart. Now be aware when you cut that microfiber mop head, it does shed a lot, but it's really fluffy. And instead of having to stuff it to make it look like a plush bunny in the front, I think it's going to be just fine just because it's so thick and fluffy. I just add hot glue to the back of my heart, and I've put my fur inside the heart for the bunny head. Now I kind of push it through a little bit so it looks more arched out a little bit and almost stuffed with all that plush on there. And I really like the look of that. I think it looks really cute. I'm just trimming up any of the excess fluff that might be seen on the other side. See how you can kind of push it through the heart like that where it is puffy? And it kind of keeps its shape. I thought at first I was going to have to stuff it to get that shape, but it really kept the little chubby cheeks there all on its own. For the eyes, I'm going to use some black macrame cord from the Dollar Tree. You could use yarn, anything you've got. You could even use twine for this and paint it. I just put down a circle of hot glue and spiral my macrame cord from the outside in until I have two little circles about the same size here. Once you get them like that, you can peel them off, especially if you're working on a silicone mat like that, and then trim off any of the excess strings on there. And you're going to have a cute little eye that looks sewn. Almost like we're going to have like a little stuffed animal face on this. So mine were not exactly symmetrical, so I'm just going to trim down my largest one to make it the same size as this one. And I was trying to decide if I wanted them up like that. And then I was thinking they probably should be a little bit more out to the side like that. I'm not going to have a lot of room for his nose and his mouth, but I have enough, I think. So I add a little hot glue here to the first eye, pushing that down into the fluff. The fluff like slightly comes over it, which gives it a lot of character. And we have two little bunny eyes for this bunny. We're also going to be using those bunny ears that you see there from the Dollar Tree for the bunny ears for the top. Now for the nose, I don't have that color of pink in macrame cord, so I'm just going to use white. Again, you could use twine for this too if you don't have any of this. And I just did a triangle of hot glue, an upside down triangle. And I just spiral around just like I did with the eye to fill the whole thing up. And since I don't have the color I wanted for this, and I do want him to have a little pink nose and mouth, I'm just going to paint it. So once I get it the way I like it, I'm also going to need some string for the mouth. So I'm just using some pink polish paint here, something very cute and pastel for his nose, and just using a brush and just painting the macrame cord. You could also paint the twine if that's how you made yours. And then I'm also going to paint just the loose string because we're going to use that to make the mouth of the bunny. And that looks pretty good. We can start putting this together. I made a plush bunny using those stackable eggs from the Dollar Tree, and I made a similar face, and it looked so cute. So it gave me an idea to do that with this one too. I just attached a little bunny nose right there at where the heart comes up like that. And then I'm also going to do the mouth coming all the way over to this part. I was trying to keep it on the fluff if I can, and not necessarily on the wood heart. Now, if you were to cover the entire front of it with the fur, the microfiber fur, you might be able to have this go down a little bit, but I had enough room, I think, to get the face on there. These are the bunny ears that I'm going to use. These are the bunny ears from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to show you how I did mine originally. I do go back and change them a little bit because I wanted to do something a little bit different with them. But what I was thinking is they have that plastic stem in there that helps keep them stand up, it keeps them firm. And so I make sure that is low enough down where I can staple it, and I staple that through. That's a really thick frame, so I just use my staple gun and put a couple staples in there until my bunny's ear stands up, and you kind of have to do it until you catch that plastic right inside. So we're going to do the same thing here with our second little bunny ear. Again, just using the plastic that was in there. I end up going back and replacing that because I wanted my ears to bend. I kind of forgot that the Dollar Tree ears are not very flexible like that. And it is coming together really cute, our little fluffy bunny. I do want to make this a standing sign, so I'm going to take a little bit of craft wood and just cut it down a little bit larger than the bunny itself. I want it to look like the bunny's head's like peeking out of the grass. So I cut down that little board and we're gonna cover that with moss to get that grassy look. This is a pretty wide frame, so I can just attach it with hot glue, wood to wood here, and stand that up on the wood side. Then it's time to make it look like the grass. I'm just gonna use the reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna glue that all over the stand where you can see this. I'm not gonna do it on the back. This is not really necessary, but the front ledge, the sides, the very front, and the ends, anywhere where you're gonna be able to see that, I just glue on the reindeer moss. Now, if you want to recreate this cute little guy, but you can't find that wood heart at your Dollar Tree, I think you could probably recreate something pretty similar if you use some cardboard, cut down a heart shape. I bet it would be all covered with fur, like the alternate option. So this is what it looks like so far. And then I was like, you know what? I want my ears to bend. So I just took the staples out, removed my ears, and I'm going to wire them so that I can make at least one of the ears floppy. The strongest wire I could find at Dollar Tree was the wired jute, so that's what we're going to use. I'm going to make sure to make it a little bit longer than I need and loop that in with the ends sticking out of the ear. The reason I want to leave it longer, it's going to make it easier to staple to that frame in the back. And these are going to be great because I can shape the bunny ears however I want to give my bunny a little bit more personality. So just like before, I'm going to use my staple gun, and if you didn't have a staple gun, you could try hot gluing that on. I think if you got the wire glued on well, they would stand up. And I am just going to simply staple on each one of the wires, also catching the fabric. Now I can shape them a little bit and make them have a little bit of personality for a bunny rabbit. I thought about making both of the ears curved like that, but I kind of like one curved and one straight up like that. I think that's cute. And this is how he turned out. Our little fluffy bunny rabbit made out of the wood heart from the Dollar Tree. He is definitely whimsical and unique. I thought maybe I should have used the microfiber mop head and covered the wood heart too, but I loved the wood heart and I did not want to cover it up. So I just left it as is and tried to make it look like a little bunny face. It's so much fun. Okay, the next DIY is going to be a coffee bar sign. For an Easter coffee bar, I am using a thrift to flip sign that I have remade probably 15 times on this channel. This was like Blue Moose coffee. This was a winter coffee bar that I had designed, and I attached this little moose from the Target dollar spot. And I did like a hand paint stain on this. But we're going to kind of just convert this sign that I've converted over and over into an Easter sign for my coffee bar. And again, I really like that blue color. I use that for the winter, but I'm also going to use that for the Easter too. So just trying to clean up any of the damage that I had on there. Sometimes I regret using hot glue. But seriously, this sign has been through it. If you can find a good board sign like this from Goodwill, you can just reuse it and reuse it. So I kind of want some good coverage here, so I'm going to use just some ivory chalk paint that I had to go over everything because I kind of stained it before and I was really kind of worried about coverage, and so I'm trying to get a nice thick coat, just kind of a white background, just so I can start with a fresh canvas. Then I'm going to go back and paint it blue. I usually have it blue, but I definitely wanted to cover up any of that stain that was on there before. So just going over that with a couple coats of white. What I want to do is to make like a Peter Cottontail, like carrot patch sign for my coffee bar. So this is a color I'm using. It's just an acrylic paint that I got at Target. Caribbean blue. I don't like my Target quit carrying like the cheap acrylic paints, and so I really stocked up when they all went on clearance, but I hate that they don't carry the cheap ones anymore. They only have like the more expensive brands, but I really do like this color. And anytime I get any paint like dripping down in there, I can kind of just go in with a little Cricut tool and clean that up a little bit. just giving myself a nice blue coat. I love to do like a hand painted sign. That's probably my favorite thing that I use my Cricut for. And so that's what we're going to do with this sign once we get it painted a nice color of blue. And if you're scared of your Cricut, I'm going to kind of show you how I do mine really quickly. I just do a square shape on there so I know exactly what size I need. Then I change the size. I can even change the color to kind of simulate exactly the size of my background so I know exactly how large to make my letters. So I have 2 blue rectangles because I'm going to paint on 2 of the little blue like panels, I guess, of it. And then I'm going to have it say Peter Cottontails. And then I'm going to have it say Carrot Patch. The 2 different fonts that we're going to use today are the Honest Darling. I think that one's really cute. We're going to use that for Peter Cottontails. And then we're going to use DTC Peach Cakes for the Carrot Patch part. I like to mix up my fonts if I can. And I think that the DTC, I'm not sure, maybe both of these you have to have the subscription, but even if you don't have the Design Space subscription, they have some really cute fonts if you want to play around with it a little bit. I really like the DTC ones though. I think they have some really cute ones. So that is the one we're going to go with, and I just kind of scaled it to size so it'll fit perfectly on my little boards. And the little, shapes are just there to show me as a little guide. But then I'm going to go in and delete those and just leave myself with the white vinyl, and that's going to cut it out. Now it's nice and long, so I need to use my 12 by 24 mat. You can grab your designs and kind of move them around here before you cut it. That way your stencil, you're going to get a little bit more of the stencil background to protect your surface that you're painting. So I just cut that out. This is stencil vinyl that I get on Amazon. It's always available in my shop, my Amazon shop below. I love it. I got a big roll of this and I've been using it for years. And I'm starting to finally get low on it, but I have really used this for so many projects. And it works great. It doesn't take any of your paint off or anything like that. The only thing about weeding like these cursive fonts like this, you got to be really careful. Like the middle of your letters stay down in between all of those little cursive letters. And I'm just using my Cricut Bright Pad to help weed it, but see how much easier it is to weed the DTC one. And I just cut them down into strips, one for each board. And then I like to use, this is paper, transfer paper. I get this on Amazon as well. It's in my shop. They have it like in a 6-inch or 12-inch roll, and it lasts forever too. And I love it because it doesn't interfere with anything. It's not too sticky, so it usually does a pretty good job of leaving the vinyl down. And so I only like to really paint the top 2 rows of this because I have things sitting in front of it on my coffee bar. So we're just going to kind of line these up over on the right side and make it say Peter Cottontail's Carrot Patch. So I'm going over it first with just a coat of ivory on both, just using a sponge brush. And then I want Carrot Patch to be orange, so I'm going back in with like this pumpkin color. Now I didn't have that down super good, so not perfect, but I'm going to distress it anyway because I like that coastal farmhouse vibe, so not too concerned about it. But I'm just going to weed out all of the vinyl that's left on there. If I can clean up some of the damage, I will. But otherwise, I'm just going to go in and sand and distress it more, and then distress the whole thing with some ivory, acrylic, and a chunky brush. And it's going to forgive any errors. Good errors. It's going to make it look really cute. And if I can't get it too good, I'll go back in with the original color and kind of touch it up a little bit. But easy peasy, we have a hand-painted sign. And then I got this great little Happy Easter sign from the Dollar Tree. I love the little bunny head on there. And I thought we could DIY him. So he was a little hanging sign that had carrots and stuff on him as well. We're just gonna take the hanger off and take off the carrots. We can always use those for another project. I must have had this sitting like on my wet wipes or something. As you can tell, it did pick up a little bit of moisture there. But he's really cute. He's like a white wood look. It totally goes with like my coastal farmhouse vibe at my house. And he's even got like a little burlap bow on his head. He's super cute. I'm just going to use hot glue to pop him on our sign. And as you can see, maybe because he got a little bit wet there, the paper on one of his ears was kind of lifted up a little bit. It wasn't glued down, so we're just going to repair that real quick with just a little more hot glue. And he's so cute. We don't have to paint him or anything. Now his bow just kind of fell off on its own. It wasn't very secure. So I'm just trying to remove any hot glue. And then I thought I would fill the little holes in his ears just with a little bit of spackle, just to clean that up a little bit, since he's not hanging anymore. And since it's a white color, that spackle's going to kind of match in there. Anytime I fill holes with spackle, I always have to go back in. I don't know, maybe I don't use enough the first time. And then I thought it'd be cute just to add a few carrots on here just because it is a little carrot patch sign. And so I got some of these little wood carrot ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and I thought those would make a nice addition to our little Easter sign. So I thought 2 would probably be plenty. Again, we're just going to fill in the little hole there with some spackle. I really wish they wouldn't make everything like this from the Dollar Tree, like an ornament, and put a hole in it automatically, because a lot of times you're not going to want a hole in it. That's one thing I notice when I buy like the ocean creature shapes on Amazon. They don't have holes, but the ones from the Dollar Tree I always have to kind of, patch. So I'm going to paint like the leafy part of the carrot, just like a light green. Color there is Luna Moth. And then we're going to use that pumpkin color to come in here and paint our carrots orange. Easy peasy. Just a couple carrots to decorate our side. Then once I get them dry, I'm going to distress them with a little bit of ivory as well, just to kind of go with my coastal farmhouse vibe. It's going to kind of make it coordinate a little bit better with that sign. And I thought we could just kind of attach those carrots to the front. Since it is a carrot patch sign, I thought we needed some carrots for sure. And this is how it turned out, our little Peter Cottontail's carrot patch sign at the top of my coffee bar for Easter. So adorable. Now, the next item for the tier tray, I actually found this at Target Dollar Spot 2 years ago, I think. It is a little bunny trail egg hunt sign that I wanted to include. And, this year, like for St. Patrick's Day, they had these things individually instead of in a kit like this. So hopefully they will have that again this year. I've been checking Target Dollar Spot, but it has lots of other cute little items in here, but I think the only one I'm really gonna need is the bunny trail egg hunt and a bunny crossing sign. And we're gonna include that on the coffee bar. This is how he looks, so cute. And as you can see, I used that little honey bunny cup last year as decor. Now, I also got these little items at the Target Dollar Spot. They are little green flocked Easter bunnies. I think I've seen similar items at the Dollar Tree, but maybe the Dollar Tree Plus for that size. And then I'm also going to use my little Ray Dunn Easter coffee mugs. I told you I bring these out every year. And that is how I decorated the top of my coffee bar, because I needed smaller items because they were all going to fit underneath that large sign, which kind of filled up most of the area. Okay, our next DIY is going to be one of these bunnies they have every year at the Dollar Tree. This is the white one. I love the size of him. He's really cute. We are going to decorate him for my coffee bar. And I was kind of doing like a farm theme, and I thought we would make him some clothes. So I'm going to use one of these little blue baby blankets from the Dollar Tree. I love this color, and the felt is so easy to DIY with because it's not going to fray when you cut it. And I thought we could make some little bunny clothes. Now, I can't say that I'm skilled at making like doll clothes, but we're just going to kind of just kind of wing it here. So I just laid it on the front of him, and I'm just kind of cutting down a shape that's going to cover most of the front of the bunny because I want to make him little bib overalls. So I'm just going to cut like a little bib front there. I cut that down to kind of go underneath his ears, and I also cut like a little space to make little legs for the overalls. And then I thought we could cut some more of that for the back of him and cover up the back of him to make just little overalls. I want him to look like a little farmer bunny, and I really wanted him to have a little bit of blue on his outfit. So the piece I cut out for the back, I'm just going to hot glue that to the sides of the bunny. And I think they have this bunny in like white and brown, maybe. I know they had more than one color the other day when I was at Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to kind of cut this down to size in the back with little straps to go over the shoulders, like little overalls would have. And this project really made me smile. My grandfather was a farmer, and he lived in his blue jean, like bib overalls, and this really made me think of him. And I'm just gluing that to the front. See how I just kind of overlapped the fabric that was on the back? Super easy way to make like little doll clothes like this without any sewing involved. And there's a little bib front. We're going to glue that on. And then I have the little straps that we cut off from the back piece. That's why I made the back piece longer, is so I would have enough fabric to do those straps to go over his shoulders, and just hot gluing that to the front. Pretty easy little bunny clothes, I think. And then like for the little buttons, I needed something small. So I thought we could use just a couple of those little round stickers from the Dollar Tree to stick on there to make little pink buttons for his little bib overalls, and I think he turned out so cute. This is how he looks on my coffee bar for Easter. Have him next to a little directional sign for the little carrot patch. And now the next item is super easy. I'm going to be using one of those Easter coffee mugs that you saw in the last video. And then I found some of these little plush carrots from the Target dollar spot. 3 of them for $3. Dollar Tree has great ones like this too. They have them like in gingham, all different kinds of patterns and stuff. And I love decorating with the plush little carrots like this. I think they're so cute. I'm just going to actually pile them in my little honey bunny mug, and it'll kind of look like a little floral arrangement or like a little carrot patch, like they're growing out of it. So I really didn't have to do anything but like put them in there. These had like great like green felt greenery on them that I think looks really cute. Now, don't do that. Sometimes when I try to show you guys things, all my stuff falls apart. But just piling them in there can't get any easier than that. And this is how it looks on my Easter coffee bar. Okay, our next DIY is super easy. This is a DIY I made for my Easter coffee bar using some wood products from the Crafter Square. We got a little wood fence and a little wood slat crate. And I thought we could make a little carrot patch for Easter. But I did want to stain the raw wood, so I'm just using some antique wax by Waverly. And I love this little fence design. It did have a hanger on the back. I just took that off and just staining all over. It really, anytime you stain any of this Dollar Tree wood, it looks really impressive. You would never know that you got this from the Dollar Tree. I do use a smaller brush to go in between there so you can kind of get all of it stained. And then I'm going to go over the crate with the Antique Wax by Waverly and stain that as well. I kind of want to make just a little garden inside the crate with like the fence behind it, kind of as the background. And then we can decorate that with carrots and a little bunny. So I just hot glue the little fence on top of the bin, just like that. It's not super steady like that, so I'm going to use a popsicle stick and just cut that down to size to make a little brace to make sure that that stays in place. And this was just a quick, easy little Easter DIY. You could put this anywhere. I've got lots of little carrot patch ideas for you today. And this is one of them. This one's pretty small. You could do this pretty much for anything. I used it for my coffee bar, but it'd be great on a tier tray as well. So I just fill it up with some reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree and those little like rope or string, I guess, wrapped carrots from the Dollar Tree. Just enough to fill it to size. I noticed some of the greenery on some of them are a little different depending on what year you buy it. But I filled it all the way up with like 8 of the little carrots, and then I thought we could go in with one of these cute little bunny bums. They come like on a little pick like this, and this one has like the little peak feet. I'm just cutting the skewer down to size so it's not too tall, and then we're just gonna have it like diving head first into our little carrot patch. And then I also wanted to add a little bit of that onion grass from the Dollar Tree just to give me a little bit more greenery than just the reindeer moss. So I just pull those off and kind of cut them down to size because they were a little bit too tall. But we're just going to fill this in a little bit. Making little carrot patches for Easter is always a lot of fun. And then I wanted to do a little bit more greenery, so I did find some more Dollar Tree greenery that I had. Something that would kind of remind me a little bit of some leafy tops to some carrots. And I worked that in as well, just kind of cutting down some individual leaves and filling that in until it's nice and full. The carrot patch is always kind of forgiving because it doesn't really matter what kind of greenery you use in there, as long as you've got something. And there's our little carrot patch with our little bunny bum sticking out. And this is how it looks on my coffee bar for Easter. Super cute, super simple, but also really fun. Now, for the coffee mugs, I actually just picked up these blue coffee mugs at Dollar Tree instead of using like my themed mugs since I use those in decor. And then I'm also going to be doing a pennant banner, and I'm going to show you how easy this is. I picked up some of these little signs from the Dollar Tree. They already have like the little pastel bunnies, one in burlap with the little bunny tails on there. And I picked up a couple of those because I needed more to make it longer. This one is the one that's got like the burlap bunnies on it. And so I thought we could combine them together. It's going to make it long enough. And so it's just a matter of dismantling what I have so I can make it exactly what I want. I want to do an odd number and I want it to be nice and full to go across the shelf of my coffee bar. So I'm going to use some twine. I actually put a needle on mine. You can also put a little hot glue in the end to make it stiffer, make it easier. But I know I needed to thread a lot. So I had a large upholstery needle I actually got at the Dollar Tree. And we are just going to string these along. I thought I could alternate pastels with burlap. And that's going to look really cute for Easter. And how easy was that? Almost all the work was already done for me. It was just a matter of borrowing those from those Dollar Tree signs. And I hung it on the bottom shelf of my coffee bar like that with those little blue coffee mugs that are so cute from the Dollar Tree. The last step in our Easter coffee bar transformation is going to be this little egg tree that I found at the Target dollar spot. So cute, a little plant tree with some eggs on it. And I thought that would be really cute down next to my goodies that I put in my coffee, next to the coffee maker. And let me give you a little look around the coffee bar. This was a really easy Easter coffee bar for me, but I think it still turned out really whimsical. Adding the blue sign to the back, I love it. I'm not afraid to use blue for any season. I think it goes with every season. And I even use it for Easter. But let me show you around. I, of course, love the little bunnies. Anytime I can do like a little bunny bum and a carrot patch, very cute. And I love how that one turned out. Staining the wood on that, it looks so good. Just piling a few bunnies in a coffee cup is so easy. This little sign, so cute from the Target dollar spot. And of course, we have to DIY those classic bunnies. I love this one. We decided to make clothes for this one. He is so cute. The other thing was we had that little pennant banner at the bottom with the bunny rabbits. So easy to do. They were basically pre-made. All I had to do was string them. So be sure to look for signs if you can find anything like that pre-strung. You can make it into a garland. But I think it's really cute. The theme on this one was Peter Cottontail's Carrot Patch. And this is my coffee bar. I have like a tiny wall between my entryway and my kitchen. And I was adamant about having a coffee bar in my house, even though I didn't really have room for one. And so I worked around what I had. There's a light switch here. So I just did floating shelves and a bar to hang my coffee cups. And then I DIY'd a little armoire that I got half price at Goodwill down below. I really hope you enjoyed these 20 Easter Dollar Tree DIYs. Please let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below, or just come say hello. And this is my QR code if you would like to buy me a coffee. Enjoy the final reveal.
Looking for my mother's eyes as I'm staying close to the mirror. A lock of gold, a secret smile, little things I remember. Place a hand upon my heart as her, she was a believer. Sometimes I can feel her arms holding me as forever. Time changes everything, and everything will change in time. Love changes every heart, and any heart can change you. I see in you my mother's eyes, and I lay your head to my shoulder. A lock of gold, a secret smile. I will tell you when you get older. I place a hand upon your heart. Every beat is taking me over, and I will hold you in my arms. Pretend we'll stay here forever. Time changes everything, and everything will change in time. Love changes every heart, and any heart can change you. You call, I fall. There's a legacy between us. We grow, we go, but in the middle, time changes everything, and everything will change in time. Love changes every heart, and any heart can change you. Looking for my mother's eyes as I'm staying close to the mirror. Lost again, going back around, dreaming of a time when I get things right. Lost in the shadows of a million stars. Shouldn't they enlighten my near and far? Shouldn't they at all just tell me where you are? Send a prayer if I'm out of luck. Send a little love and I'll make it back. Send me a letter and a bottle of wine, telling me I will be
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's Easter crafting marathon. That helps so much. And I had 2 hours of Easter content for you today. I would also like to thank my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marin Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, Powell Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Jenny, Debbie Austin, James Osborne, and Lizette Thomas. Thank you all. I appreciate you so much. If you would like to be a member here on my channel, I would really appreciate it. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube as a reward. Now, would you like more crafting inspiration? Be sure to check out one of these Dollar Tree DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting for Easter.